Now releasing all goblins.
Hey gang, using the promo code MTGMudsta, one word, all caps, will get you 10% off orders of $10 or more at Flipside Gaming, Original Magic Art, and orders of singles at Multizone. If they don't have what you're looking for, you could check out TCG Player and use my affiliate link to help support the channel. Looking for a way to bling out your deck and not spend a fortune? Alter Sleaze can help with that, and you can help with the channel at the same time by using my affiliate link. Or, if you're looking to join the Goblin Gang, you can always support me through Patreon. Hey gang, Flipside Gaming has another giveaway, this time for Commander Legends. Between November 2nd, 2020 and November 20th, 2020, any order of $10 or more will get you entered to win a box of Commander Legends. Alternatively, you can send a stamped, self-addressed envelope or postcard to Flipside Gaming at the following address. It's one entry per person, so good luck and have fun. Alrighty, today's game is another one we filmed in my garage, and today's game has me borrowing Martin's Mimeoplasm deck, keeping Demonic Tutor, Ancient Ooze, Island, Gutter Grime, Mana Confluence, and 2 Swamps. Nick is playing his take on Tymna and Vial Smasher, keeping Caves of Koilos, Godless Shrine, Plains, Mountain, Incite Rebellion, Phyrexian Arena, and Urza's Armor. Martin has brought out Ayula, keeping 2 Forests, Arcane Lighthouse, Throne of the High City, Concordant Crossroads, and Zendikar Resurgent. Max wants to show off what Neyith can do since my game was so bad, and he keeps 2 Forests, Rootbound Crag, See the Unwritten, Protean Hulk, Springbloom Druid, and a Sneak Attack. I win the die roll and start us off. I draw and play a Mana Confluence. I tap it, taking 1 Ouchie, and cast a Birds of Paradise. Nick plays a tap Godless Shrine. Martin plays his Forest, and boldly plays out a turn 1 Concordant Crossroads. Max just plays a Forest as well, passing. I play a Swamp, and pass. Nick plays a Mountain. Martin plays a Throne of the High City, and he taps 2 mana to cast Ayula. She comes in, and going to combat, he swings her at Max for 2. Max plays a Rootbound Crag, and passes. I play a Polluted Delta, and pay 2 mana for Demonic Tutor. I then pass to Nick while searching. Nick plays a Reflecting Pool, and casts Tymna in his main phase. She has haste, and he swings her at me for 2, and as she connects, gains 2. In his post-combat main phase, he loses 1 to draw a card with her ability, and he then has to discard down to 7 at the end of turn. Martin plays a Forest, and casts Balduvan Bears. With it entering, Ayula gets a trigger, and Martin decides to put 2 +1/+1 counters onto his commander. Ayula then goes at Max, and the bear goes at Nick. Max plays a Forest and casts a Springbloom Druid. It enters, and he sacrifices a Forest to go into his library to grab 2 tap basics, and then passes to me. For my turn, I drop a Forest and then cast Prime Speaker Vannifar, the best ooze. She does have haste, which lets me tap her to sacrifice the birds, and I go into my library to find a 2-drop. I find another ooze, this time of the scavenging variety, and I pass to Nick. Nick plays a Caves of Koilos and goes at Martin this time with Tymna. He gains 2 and then loses 1 to draw to Tymna's ability in his post-combat main phase. Nick then casts a Phyrexian Arena, passing. Martin untaps and plays a Forest. A Beast Whisperer drops by to say hello, and Martin then goes the same ways during combat, dealing 4 to Max with Ayula and 2 to Nick. He then passes. Max draws and plays a Forest. He taps enough for Neyith, passing. I play a Swamp for turn, and lose 1, sacrificing the Delta to get my 5th mana needed to cast a Gutter Grime. I then activate Vannifar, sacrificing the Scavenging Ooze to go and find a 3-drop. I do get a counter on my Gutter Grime though, and make an Ooze token because one of my creatures dies, and then go and find an Evolution Sage. I then pass to Nick. Nick loses 1 to his arena, drawing from it, and for turn. He plays a tap Blood Crypt, and then brings out Tymna's friend, Vial Smasher. Martin plays Arcane Lighthouse, and casts a Mind's Eye, passing a Max. Max draws and swings his druid at Nick, who blocks with Tymna. With the druid becoming blocked, Max draws a card thanks to Neyith, and then damage is dealt, which has Nick gaining 2 life. Max then plays out Brawn and passes. I play an island and get, air quotes, a landfall trigger from the Sage, putting a counter onto my Gutter Grime. 4 mana then gets me a Parallel Lives, and we Vanifar away the Sage, getting more oozes as the Sages die from Gutter Grime. I grab a Necrotic Ooze, putting it out, and passing to Nick. Nick loses 1 to his arena, drawing from it, and for turn. He plays a Mountain, and then taps out for an Urza's Armor. This triggers Vial Smasher, which has Nick rolling a die to see who she hits. Max is the lucky target, and with nothing else, Nick then passes. Martin's turn is very quick as he draws and passes. Max draws for turn, and Martin pays 1 to Mind's Eye to draw with him. Max then goes to combat, swinging Brawn at Martin. Martin blocks, and Max draws from Neyith seeing one of his creatures being blocked, and Ayula easily takes Brawn out. With Max drawing, Martin also pays the 1 to draw with him with a Mind's Eye. Max then plays a Tap Sheltered Thicket and casts Perforos Bronze Blooded. I draw, and Martin draws with me, paying for the Mind's Eye trigger. I then pay 5 for a Kindred Discovery, and then actually Vanifar away the Necrotic Ooze. I get more oozes from the Gutter Grimes, drawing from a Kindred Discovery before going to find another creature. I put out an Acidic Slime, drawing as it enters from the Kindred Discovery, and blowing up Nick's arena. We move to combat, and I send 3 of the Gutter Oozes at Martin, and the remaining 2 plus the Acidic Slime at Max. Before anything, I get to draw 6 cards from Kindred Discovery and seeing these oozes swing, which brings me up to 9 cards from it just this turn alone. Martin declares no blocks, while Max puts Neyith in front of the Acidic Slime. Martin then takes 12 while Max takes 8. And with my Acidic Slime dying, I put another counter onto the Gutter Grime and make 2 more slimes, drawing 2 more cards as they enter from the Kindred Discovery. I then move to my end step and discard down to 7. Nick draws and casts Infernal Genesis, which is just such a weird card and I love it. He rolls for Vial Smasher, which has Martin this time taking the damage, and he takes 6. Nick then goes at Max with Tymna, who deals 2, and Nick gains 2. He moves to his post-combat main phase, losing 1 to Tymna's ability and drawing a card, and then passing. Martin has to mill his top card in his upkeep to the Infernal Genesis, hitting a land so he gets no minions. He plays a Forest and casts Kadama's Reach to grab a basic for the field and 1 for his hand. He realizes he has 9 cards in hand as he passes through his phases, pitching 2 and going down to 7 before Max's turn. Max mills his card and it's a 4-drop, which makes him 4 minions. He draws for turn and plays a tapped Oran Reef. Max then passes, and at the end of turn, Nick uses Swords to Plowshares on Vanifar. He rolls for Vial Smasher, and I take 1, and then gain some life from the Swords to Plowshares. I mill a Bajuka Bog to the Infernal Genesis, gaining no minions. I draw and play an island for turn. I cast Kindred Dominance. There can be only ooze! And Martin responds when he gets priority, saving his team with a heroic intervention, and the rest is wiped. I then move to combat, swinging 3 oozes at Nick and 4 at Martin. I draw 7 first, and Martin blocks 3 of them. Martin then takes 5, and Nick takes 12 since the armor reduces the damage from each ooze by 1. In my post-combat main phase, I lose 1 life to cast Hardened Scales by tapping the Mana Confluence and pass, discarding down to 7 again. Nick mills a land as well to his Infernal Genesis, and then plays a Thunderstaff. Nick asks the table if anyone can help deal with my board, and Martin offers to do the only thing he can do, which is player removal. Nick then plays out a Spell Shock, and passes. Martin mills his top card, which is a Cavern of Souls, and draws. He plays a Forest and casts Craterhoof Behemoth. His board is pumped by +4/+4, and Max offers his help if Martin doesn't attack him. Martin agrees provided that Max doesn't take him out on his next turn, and they come to an accord. I then take the hit for 29, 8 of which is Ayula damage. Martin then declares he'll pass, and, full disclosure, we make a bit of a mistake. Prior to leaving the second main phase, Max uses Perforos to put out a Protean Hulk. Unfortunately, we forgot that Perforos is only red or artifact creatures, unlike Sneak Attack, which he did have in hand, which allows for anything. He moves to his end step, and the Hulk gets sacrificed. He finds a Scourge of the Throne, putting into the field, and we then move to Max's turn. Max mills a Thunderfoot Baloth to the Genesis trigger, gaining 6 minion tokens. He then draws for turn, and plays a Rogue's Passage. 6 mana is tapped for See the Unwritten, and Max takes 2 from Spellshock, and then reveals his top cards, putting out 2 creatures because he meets Ferocious. The cards are an Ulvenwald Tracker and a Beanstalk Giant. Moving to combat, he swings the Tracker and minions at me, the Scourge at Nick, and the Giant at Martin. Since Nick is on the throne, Max gets to put a +1/+1 counter onto the Scourge, and he gets an extra combat step after this one. We all take the hits, with Nick taking 2 less because of the staff and the armor, and I get taken out. Max then untaps and gains an extra combat step, but wanting to uphold his deal to not take Martin out, he just passes to Nick. Nick mills his top card, and gets 4 minions from it. He draws for turn, and then plays a Dragon Soul Summit. Moving to combat, he goes all out at Max. Max stops 2 with the Scourge and the Beanstalk Giant, and 2 with his own minions. We then see Nick cast Incite Rebellion, taking only 1 from the spell shock because the staff prevents 1 of it. Responding to the spell when he gains priority, Max has the Tracker make 1 minion fight the Craterhoof. Martin then takes 4, while Max takes 5. All the creatures also get wiped except for Max's Beanstalk Giant, who does survive though, which is a small comfort. Martin mills his top card, getting some minions from the Genesis. He plays a tap Mosswort Bridge for his land drop, hiding away a card. He then passes to Max. Max draws and plays a Forest. He casts Domri Raid, taking 2 from the spell shock, and realizes he should have milled his top card, putting the forest that he drew into his graveyard. He draws what should have been his card, which is in fact another forest. Max then upticks Domri, and leaves the card on top since it's not a creature card. He then taps 6 mana for a tally, taking another 2 from Spellshock. Moving to combat, Max swings both creatures at Nick, and gets a trigger from a tally first. Martin reveals Bane of Progress, while Nick reveals an Acroan Horse, and Max hits a Homeward Path. Max decides to cast the Bane, taking 2 from the Spellshock. It then enters, and blows up all artifacts and enchantments. Nick then takes 14, and Max passes. Nick draws, and looks at Max's graveyard. While he's doing this, Martin uses crop rotation to blow up a forest, and go and find a Gaia's Cradle to save some time. Nick then plays Tombstone Stairwell, another fun card, and he recasts Tymna. At the end of turn, Martin flashes out an Ashcoat Bear. Martin counts up the creatures in his graveyard, making 3 2/2 black creatures that also count as zombie tokens from the Stairwell trigger, and he draws for turn. He taps his Cradle for enough to cast his Zendikar Resurgent, and then recasts Ayula. He draws from the Resurgent trigger, and then plays a Winding Canyon. We see a Metallic Mimic hitting the stack, with Martin drawing a card, and naming bears as it comes in. He now has enough power to activate the Mosswort Bridge, and he's able to cast a Blade of Selves, and once it resolves, it equips it onto the Ashcoat. He still has enough for a Grisly Fate, and with Threshold active, Martin gets to make 4 2/2 green bear tokens instead of the normal 2. This triggers Ayula 4 times, with Martin putting a +1/+1 counter onto each of them from the Mimic, and then resolves the Ayula trigger to put 8 +1/+1 counters onto the Ashcoat. We then head to combat, and Martin has to do some math. He has the Ashcoat swinging at Max, and the zombies going at Nick. The Ashcoat swinging triggers the Blade, which makes him a token copy of the Ashcoat heading at Nick. It comes in, triggering Ayula, and this lets Martin have the real Ashcoat fight the Bane of Progress. Nick then blocks with Tymna, while Max gets taken out. Nick untaps and needs an out. He plays a Plains and casts Pestilence. This is a dangerous card with a low life total, but not as dangerous as it is for Martin, who dies after Nick activates the enchantment once. Game review time. So 90% of the reason that I wanted to play this deck was, you guessed it, the Secret Lair. Although I probably would never buy one for myself, I certainly loved the card art from Wizard of Barge. Beyond that, the deck actually turned out to be a lot of fun, And even though I don't think that Ooze Tribal currently has any legs to stand on, get it? It'll be interesting to see what some of the cards from Commander Legends bring to the table. Max certainly did a better job with Neyith, and he was a big threat for most of this game near the end. Sure, there was the mistake with the Perforos activation, but he did have the sneak attack in hand, and would have cast that instead. Nick's Tymna and Vial Smasher deck is actually an Urza's Armor type effect tribal deck. He runs as many copies of this type effect as he possibly can, and then uses spells like Pestilence or other board wipes that deal damage to players at the same time, causing massive amounts of damage to his opponents, but lessen to himself. I think unfortunately Martin might have been able to win with Ayula on that last turn had he given a bit more thought to the combat step. I think he was worried about the crackback from the Tombstone Stairwell, and so he left a couple creatures back for blocks as opposed to attacking with them. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/mtgmudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/mtgmudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.